Stealth has been one of my favorite genres for a long time. Here's every stealth game I have ever played ranked. Coming in at last place, Hitman Contracts. This is the series that made me fall in love with stealth, but I have never really gotten into Contracts. It's the darkest Hitman in terms of tone. That's the only thing that stands out. It doesn't have classic Hitman missions or maps that stick with you. Gameplay was pretty much the same as Silent Assassin, maybe a little polished, but it just doesn't have the Hitman charm. The first mission, for example, feels like a completely different series. Having said that, I have played through it at least 3 times. It's not a bad game. The reason it's at the bottom is stealth games have never been truly awful, or maybe I just got lucky. Next we have another Hitman, Hitman Codename. This game has the charm and you can see its influence even in Hitman 3, a title that came out 21 years later. This was way ahead of its time. Maps felt so damn open. It took another decade for stealth games to feel like this. But playing this now in 2026 is a true test of patience. Even 25 years ago, this wasn't the smoothest running game out there, but now the clunkiness gets in the way at every turn. For me, that's not a big problem because I look at this game with rose-tinted glasses, but objectively, this was Hitman in development. Had a lot of elements that we have grown to love but didn't execute them all that well. Next we have Splinter Cell Conviction, my least favorite entry from one of the most underrated stealth series ever. When you imagine a perfect stealth game, Splinter Cell is what comes the closest. Not Hitman, not Metal Gear. Sam moves like a cat, fluid, but also you aren't just walking around. You can climb up stuff, environments are 3-dimensional. Traversal is a big part of these games, emphasis on light, an underused element in stealth. Conviction was more stealth action than other entries. That's the reason it's low on the list. Because this game will make you feel like an absolute savage. You are Rambo basically. Actual stealth mechanics though, I feel were better in other entries. Next up we have Hitman 2016. I didn't like this game at launch at all. First because of the episodic release of maps and second it felt too sanitized. You are an assassin but this game at times feels like you are playing an elaborate game of hide and seek. Maps were also mixed. The one in Italy was the highlight, which is what the recent trilogy should be judged on because gameplay is more or less the same. But Hitman 2 and especially 3 really stepped up, delivering big maps that felt like mini open worlds. Gameplay is classic Hitman. Gunplay isn't great, you are walking around for the most part. Creative assassinations are at every corner. There is an attempt at a story here, but nothing that will keep you hooked. Because maps aren't as well designed, even replaying isn't as satisfying, at least for me. Next we have 007 First Light. If this was a ranking on just the quality of these games, First Light would be much higher up. But as far as stealth goes, First Light is nothing we haven't seen before. The execution is top notch. Gadgets add a little bit more. This is the Watch Dogs brand of stealth. Movement is also just as crisp. It was nice playing a good old-fashioned stealth game in 2026. There are no gimmicks, no looking for clever ways to do the job, just good old hiding behind wooden boxes and taking bad guys out. The fluidity in everything is the appeal. IO Interactive have never been great with this, but First Light is on uncharted levels of how everything flows together. Stealth with action, quick time events and set pieces. But if you played with a purely stealth approach, you will see why the game is closer to the middle of this list. Next we have Hitman 2, a big improvement over the reboot. No more episodic releases, more big open maps. The Italy map in the first game is brilliant. IO Interactive have made almost every map like that in Hitman 2. But for some reason, the tutorial mission in New Zealand is one of my favorite Hitman missions. It is very straightforward, simple, no Hitman shenanigans, but the atmosphere, the location just stick. And that is the case for almost every map that comes after. Colombia, Mumbai, Maldives, the racetrack. Gameplay though is the same, let's be honest. This was supposed to be season 2, not a separate game. Gunplay is still very frustrating, maybe by design. It is a very small part of the experience, so I can overlook it. The story is a nothing burger again. But unlike older games, which also had lackluster stories, this game isn't memorable. You play it, have fun, but it's not the memorable experience a Blood Money or Silent Assassin was. Next, Hitman Absolution. Up until 007 First Light, this probably was IO Interactive's best work making a stealth action game. Though it feels more like a generic stealth game than Hitman, it still has its bright spots. Agent 47 for the first time ever moves like you want him to. The cover system is surprisingly good, combat is better than ever, elements like Instinct, Fake Surrender and Deadeye were introduced, though the latter just doesn't fit in a Hitman game. There are maybe 4 realistic sections in the entire game where Deadeye would come to use. If you play this craving for something like First Light but on a smaller scale, you will love it. This game is a very linear stealth action game. Remember that because this isn't classic Hitman, not even close. Next on the list, Splinter Cell Blacklist. This is the best execution of the idea of a stealth action game in most people's head. When you picture being a cool spy, this is what you imagine. And the execution is pretty amazing as well. Splinter Cell is no longer a household name. At one point it was Sam, Agent 47 and Snake. Going back and playing this, you will realize why. Moving around the map in Blacklist is one of my favorite things to do. Sam moves effortlessly and these maps are built to be explored horizontally and vertically. You aren't stuck sneaking around on the ground all the damn time. See a crevice on a hill, you can climb it. Pipes, you can climb them. Zip lines are everywhere. Even normal buildings are built for you to go up and down and all over. You have Mark and Execute, which is basically Deadeye, but this is the best execution of that mechanic in any game I've seen. This is a game that will make you feel cool and untouchable like very few games can. Next, a fan favorite, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. This is as pure as a stealth game as anything. Splinter Cell became more stealth action after this, which I'm not complaining about, but Chaos Theory is the definitive stealth entry in the series. I personally like Blacklist more as a game, but stealth, Chaos Theory is up there. I wouldn't be that surprised if someone put this on the top of their list. Light is the biggest mechanic. You use your night vision goggles more than your gun. Turning off lights in an area, waiting in the dark, and don't forget to remain quiet because after light, sound is the biggest factor. Making too much noise will alert enemies. Movement in typical Splinter Cell fashion is amazing. It is slower than the rest but just as fluid. If you want a stealth game with no gimmicks, go for this. It's still not dated by any means even though it is 21 years old. Next, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. This is a silly yet very serious game. Metal Gear Solid has always been a weird franchise thanks to Hideo Kojima, but this is the strangest of them all. You're thrown into a Russian jungle during the Cold War where you eat snakes to survive, navigate crocodile-ridden swamps. In 2026, the level design does feel pretty basic even with the remake from last year, but stealth gameplay, this series is the king. Maybe Splinter Cell comes close, but sneaking around in Snake Eater is something else. You face these mini areas one at a time, a very early 2000s gameplay design element, either taking enemies out or sneaking past them. Snake is versatile. Being able to crawl just blew my mind when I first played this. Gameplay still had room for improvement though. The remake stays true to the original, so this isn't peak MGS gameplay. But this is one of those games where the sum is greater than its parts. The wacky cutscenes, underrated boss fights, solid combat, and the absurd story should be experienced by everyone, not just stealth fans. Next we have Hitman Blood Money. For many, the best Hitman and maybe the best stealth game ever made. But personally, one of the biggest attractions of these games are the maps. Blood Money has intricately detailed areas, but the exotic locations from Hitman's before and after are missing. You're mostly in the United States, you sneak through neighborhoods instead of exotic cities, but these maps are built like a playground. You have multiple entry points, assassination opportunities. The Hitman vision came true with this one, I feel, for the first time. Not to the scale of the recent games, but smaller, more focused, which to this day some people prefer. Gameplay is finally not a clunky mess, but still, by 2006 standards, it's not the most fluid. Absolution, even though hated by the majority, is probably the best Hitman movement-wise. Nostalgia isn't a factor for me with Blood Money, but even then I can see it is a ridiculously good game. We have another Hitman up next, Hitman 3. This is the end product. The first two games were sold separately, each with their own maps, but they felt like they were leading up to something. Well, this is that something. Every map is classic Hitman. I would have liked more maps, more missions. Missions here can drag out sometimes on the first attempt, which isn't a problem for Hitman fans. We are used to walking around for long periods of time looking for that satisfying assassination, but the original Hitman games welcome newer players better, with faster missions, gradually introducing the unique brand of gameplay. One thing Hitman 3 does better than any Hitman is it plays well, relatively. This is a series long known for clunkiness, which got covered up by the fact that nothing really happens most of the time. Hitman 3 though has better gunplay, but still it is unsatisfying and should be used as the absolute last resort. Even going back to checkpoints over and over again feels better than using your pistol. And did I say how awesome maps are? Usually we get one or two really awesome maps and the rest you play once and don't go back. Here you have Dubai, China, the Knives Out mission, Berlin and Norway maps are still very good. As far as stealth games go, this is the most replayable, and even though it is technically only about 15 hours long, it is the best bang for your buck. Mastering these maps are addictive. I cannot tell you how many times I have replayed the Knives Out mission. These are not just different areas, everything changes. The atmosphere, in-game rules, what the game lets you do. Hitman 3 is great, but there is another Hitman still left on this list. Next, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. This is one of the greatest experiences I have had with a video game. I have no idea how it runs so well, not just FPS, but Snake is silky smooth. And even performance-wise, this game can run on a potato, literally. You are constantly switching between running, climbing, sneaking around, riding horses or cars, crawling, taking down enemies quietly. Everything fits like a puzzle. Even when your cover is blown, gunplay is more than good enough. All of this is very rare in this genre. There are only two flaws. First, the story is unfinished. Finishing the game is unsatisfying in the least, and then the open world. This is an open world stealth game for some reason, with not one but two big areas. They are big, but man are they empty. Every mission starts off with you getting to the area, which is a chore every time. Other than enemy outposts, there is nothing, which is fine, but why make it an open world? This was 2015, every game had to be an open world, I know, but it just does not work at all. Other than that, if someone who isn't into stealth at all asked me for a recommendation, I would definitely say go with Phantom Pain. There is another game left on this list, but stealth gameplay hasn't been as smooth and efficient and fun as this. And at first place, Hitman Silent Assassin. This is the game that made me fall in love with stealth games. This is a title from 2002, but the level of freedom you have is seriously insane. Maps are pretty open, and on top of that, this game creates the illusion of being even bigger. In the beginning of every mission, it feels like Agent 47 is just let out into a city. These maps are not as open as recent Hitmans, but they feel like it somehow. The third mission in St. Petersburg is the perfect example. It is a very linear mission when you look at it, but the map just feels wide open. To this day, Silent Assassin has the most memorable maps. Gameplay is classic Hitman combined with good old sneaking around stealth. I prefer this to a Blood Money or the modern trilogy, where every mission turns into a very elaborate playground. Silent Assassin, you have those creative kills at times and you can still sneak your way in and do the job personally. Both approaches felt just as satisfying. The game plays better than Codename, but it's still clunky at times and annoying as well. Camera, for example, is not reliable at all. Movement is still janky, but there is no stealth game with maps as good as this. Gameplay is very ahead of its time, vision-wise, even with a few issues. Well, that was my ranking. Click the video on screen to see every open world game ranked from worst to best. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this one. I'm sure you will love future videos as well. Thanks for watching and have a great day wherever you are.